Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. So 2 weeks ago, I posted a video summarizing my 5 years in the Navy. In that video, the purpose of it was to share with you in detail all the negative experiences that I went through so you understand when you join the military, when you join the Navy, you will face these different challenges. And I wanted you to understand like, hey, at the end of it, as long as you work hard every single day, you will come out on top. Some of the things that I said in that video were a little bit aggressive, but some of the things that I said in that video were misunderstood. Everything that I said in that video, it was an experiment to see how the community would react. And the community reacted. I got a lot of data from that. At the same time, there was a thing I didn't expect, which was NICKY MGTV's reaction video. Nicky and I don't know each other on a personal level, but we've exchanged pleasantries on Instagram DM, him saying like, hey, what's up? And commenting on each other's posts sometimes, and me saying like, hey, shave your legs. We don't have a full-blown conversations, but like I said, we exchange a few words here and there, so we have a mutual relationship, mutual understanding. So when he said he was going to make a reaction video, I didn't really know what to expect. I generally don't consume military content. I'm more lean towards finances, so I don't really watch any of his videos. I watch stuff here and there to understand kind of what he is about. Likewise, I'm sure he doesn't consume all of my content to really know what I am about. And I was surprised to see that that's how he knows me as. That's the impression I give off to him. And you know what? Maybe it is my fault because in that video I was a little bit aggressive and I did expect a reaction from the community, and that's the reaction I got, so I accept it. But if you know anything about my content, I have hundreds of videos where I play generally the middle and I poke at both sides just like Nicky. But for the most part, a lot of my content is pro-military. I recommend you join the military no matter what age you are. That's generally my content other than my core content, which is talking about financials. This video was one of the first of its kind where I elaborate all the negatives. So I understand it may seem like for those of you who are watching it face value for the first time without realizing, without knowing who I am, it does come off like a crybaby, like there's a rainy cloud over my head. I understand. But for Nicky to have not known my character throughout the years, like 3 or 4 years that we've been acquainted with each other, this was the impression that he got from me. This is how he knew me as. When we look at my channel here, as you can see, this on a scale of 1 to 10, right? This is more towards the negative, right? It's almost me bashing the military, as Nicky said. But on the other hand, this video right here is how the Navy changed my life. It's nothing but positive. If the Navy had a commercial, I could be in that commercial with this video. And everything else here, I'm kind of sharing with you my day, playing the in-between. A video like this, right? Hard work pays off, saving $1,000 a month. It's leaning more towards the positives of the military. I was trying to think, why did he react to this video instead of this video? Why did he purposely choose the negative over the positive? Because as you continue to scroll down and see the different types of content that I have, why didn't he react to a video, for example, 200 to 100,000, 200 to 90,000? How I went from in detail, 200 to $50,000. I don't really post negative stuff. This video right here, 3 negative health side effects, is me sharing with you the negative things in terms of health that I have developed within my time in the military, right? I'm not bashing the military here by any means. If you go through all my videos, right? Success while in the military, joining at 30 or bettering myself through the Navy, how to effectively save money in the military, the good life, how to deal with being in the military. Like, it's generally positive, good stuff, good advice. To try to better understand why Nicky made a reaction video, I scrolled through his channel, and he has some good stuff here too, right? Navy guy shares secrets on how to make rank quick, or Marine released finally from the Philippines, talking about military pay update and giving military pay advice, and hard truth about going to college. You know, he's gotten his college degree and he's trying to put in for officers. So he puts out good stuff too. But from what I can see, I don't know his content too well, but from what I can see, from what I understand, he generally focuses on the controversial topics, controversial figures, the clickbaity type stuff, and negative stuff. And he does that, like he says, to give a fair evaluation, right? He doesn't want you to be influenced. He wants to play that in between and share with you exactly what's what, and help you make a evaluated, educated decision. I understand that's the type of stuff that he likes to do. The only thing I don't agree that he did was talking about Vanessa here. And out of curiosity, I decided to click on the video to see if it was monetized, and unfortunately, it was monetized. So thinking about what happened, right? We have some sort of cordial relationship, mutual understanding. He makes a video, completely misrepresents my character in his video, and maybe that's my fault. I didn't explain stuff. Some of the stuff I said was aggressive, and I understand that type of content he likes to make is just that. When I said no other YouTubers went through what I went through, I said that to make a statement to see other people's reaction. It wasn't an offensive posture towards anybody. So it still makes me wonder why. Why did he make a reaction video misrepresenting my character and not understanding who I am? And it makes me think that throughout the years, he wasn't trying to build any sort of relationship, but he was just trying to keep tabs on me, to see if I mess up, to see the moment I slip up, he'll make a video and add it to his library of content. Because if he genuinely had some care, right, he could have DM'd me and said, hey, Yoon, I didn't like that video that you made. Can you explain to me why you did what you did? Why you said what you said? And I would have gladly explained to him, like, hey, here's my thought process, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this video, why I said what I said. At the same time, here's why I still stand by it. But instead, he made a reaction video misrepresenting me, my audience, my content, what I stand up for. And so I have to make a reaction video to a reaction video to a video, which I don't really like to do, but I have to, so I can clear up any misunderstanding and provide and have a conversation, right? Have a conversation like, hey, here's some misunderstandings, here's where I disagree with you, and let's move forward. So now I'm going to be going over with you the things that he said in his video, and I'm going to be explaining to you where there were the misunderstandings or where there were points that I don't agree. I don't have everything that he said because some of the explanation I have is going to encompass the other stuff that he said. At the same time, I may have missed a thing or two here and there, but I just got the main points, so this video isn't incredibly long. And I'm going to change my shirt because I was drinking coffee and I spilled some on myself.
What it's about is the assumption that because I talk positively about the military, there's someone that said that even about me and Donnie DWK videos, that they sugarcoat it. Like he said, though, there are positives and negatives to everything, which if you watch my videos, I poke at the positives and negatives, and I don't just bash it either way. And I do that to be fair for your assessment and knowledge because, I try and find good things about things because it's always easy to find bad things about it too, but at least you understand it. I think it's a misconceived perception that you're having of our experience when really I don't post that stuff because...
So I completely agree with when he said, hey, you're assuming other people's experiences. Just because we don't post it doesn't mean we went through it, right? I completely agree. I completely understand. I fully, knowingly said what I said as an experiment to see what type of reaction I could get. But a misunderstanding that people have that they can't seem to wrap their heads around is when I was trying to explain to you the RCOH process. What I'm referring to is an outlier of an experience. When people join the military, they have different checklists, right? If you're from the East Coast, hey, I want to go to California, the West Coast, or hey, I want to go overseas, or hey, I want to be on a ship and be able to travel around all the different parts of the world. And hey, I signed up to be a logistics specialist. I want to be doing logistics specialist work, right? They have a checklist of all the things that they want. People will generally get several things within that checklist. But what I am saying is, hey, I had an outlier of an experience. For example, a friend of mine signed up to be an aviation electronics technician, right? AT, went to boot camp, went to A school, got sent to Guantanamo Bay to be a security guard. That's an outlier of an experience. Such as myself, signed up to be a logistics specialist, went to boot camp, went to A school, got sent to a shipyard inside a construction zone, living inside the ship, right? After a year of me living in the barracks. Like, I can't explain to you how challenging that is, right? There's the normal level of maintenance that everybody does, like breaking floors or, you know, fixing doors or whatever, the general level that everybody understands. Within RCOH, when I went, it was the first time that the Navy integrated a half and half system. There was about 4 million hours that went into the specific job that we were doing, and they cut that in half. 2 million hours to the construction, right, contractors, 2 million hours to the crew. And you know, the contractors are the ones who specialize and do all the different weldings and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, the things that normally was done by contractors, right, were done by sailors. And it's hard for me to explain and understand because there's no pictures. You're not allowed to take pictures or videos of the stuff. So it's hard for me to explain it to you for people who haven't been through that process to really understand what I'm talking about when I said, hey, I didn't do my job for the first 2 and a half years. It was completely far from it. But the thing that I see a lot in the comment section is choose your rate, choose your fate. Right? But to say to my friend, hey, you signed up to be an AT, you wanted to fix aircraft parts, you should have known that you were going to be a security guard in Guantanamo Bay. Hey, you signed up to be a logistics specialist, you wanted to deal with supply on a ship, you should have known that you were going to go to a construction zone in Newport News. To me, it's like, well, no, no matter what amount of research you do, it doesn't prepare you for all the different things that the Navy can make you do, right? Those are the outlier experiences. For the most part, people get to do what they ideally sign up to do. It does come as a culture shock, but for the most part, they do get to do what they signed up to do. And towards the end of my career, towards the back half of my career, I was able to do what I signed up to do.
My point to him on this is don't hold a rank to a certain level of these people are the workers and these people that are this rank are not the workers. If you're learning anything from his video, don't let that rank hold you.
So this is a clear case of him not knowing my character. Completely understand. I don't expect you to have watched all my videos. But if you've watched some, you would have clearly understood, like, hey, what is he trying to say? What I'm trying to say is when you are in these type of environments, when you're doing construction work, it doesn't matter what rate you are, what rank you are, how long you've been in, what your background is. That's your job. I'm not trying to be a rankist where like, oh, I'm an E5, I shouldn't lift a finger. No, that's not what it's about. Like you misunderstood. In front of us, there's 2 boxes. One is 60-pound and one is 20-pound box. I will always carry the 60-pound box. That's just the leadership style that kind of makes sense to me. I don't believe in pulling rank. I believe in leading from the front.
All right. So this is where I kind of have an issue with Yoon's idea of people, right? And I get what he's saying. We have had, and he said this, there are good people, bad people, good and bad on the spectrum, right? And he's talking about like they've made his time miserable here because the quality of people. When I hear this, if I worked with Yoon afterwards, I'm going to say, screw that guy. I'm not going to go work with Yoon. I don't even want to talk to that guy anymore. But as a leader, and you are a leader as an E5, you are, right? You're technically in some kind of probably work center supervisor position where you are going to have to win over people. Sometimes that is the worst person you don't want to see every day.
So in this moment, he's describing when I said low quality people. And I'm going to hold back on the elaboration for a little bit later when he makes another point, and I'm going to put it in a pretty package. But what I will say, when I was thinking about saying low quality people, I thought about, well, why is the word dirtbag commonly used in the Navy? Why is that word so accepted? If I said, hey, there's so much dirtbags in the Navy, would Nicky have reacted the same way? Now, I don't know exactly how the word dirtbag came about in the Navy, the originated story. But if I had to imagine dirtbag, if you look at it from the dictionary standpoint, basically means dirty, unkept person. So it may have originated from when people wore their uniforms and there were spots or there were obvious messes and people said, "Oh man, you look like a bag of dirt," right? But in modern day, right, in these days, it's referred to one of two things when you call somebody a dirtbag. One, how they look, like, hey, you look like a dirtbag. Or two, most commonly, it describes people's personality or their performance. Like, hey, he's a dirtbag. And I'm sure Nicky is just as guilty of saying this word too. Maybe in a joking way, but I'm sure he said it in a stern way to people also. If we look at Merriam-Webster's dictionary here, you can see on the synonyms, right? Synonyms for dirtbag is bastard, beast, bleeder, blighter, bore, bounder, bugger, buzzard, cad, chuff, curl, clown, creep, cretin, crud, crumb, cur, dog, fink, heel, hound, jerk, joker, louse, lout, pill, rat, ratthink, reptile, rotter, schmuck, scumbag, scuzzball, skunk, sleaze, sleazebag, sleazeball, slime, slimeball, slob, snake, so-and-so, sod, stinker, swine, toad, varmint, vermin. Whenever people say, oh, he's a dirtbag, it's equivalent to saying, oh man, he's a vermin. Oh man, he's a scumbag. He's a clown. He's a joker. It's funny. If I, in that video, in that moment, said, oh man, there's a lot of jokers in the Navy, Nicky probably wouldn't have reacted the same way he did. If I said, oh man, there's a lot of scumbags in the Navy, I think Nicky would have reacted in a similar manner as he did right now. Because that word is used so much on a daily basis within the Navy, I think people forgot or people became numb to what the word actually means. Outside of the Navy, if you go out in the street at a mall somewhere and just start calling people dirtbags, it's an insult, right? And you're going to get insulted back with synonyms of dirtbag. It all points to the same thing. It all points to the same type of individual that I'm trying to describe. Low quality people, as I said, it's an adjective. That's one of the difference. When I see these definitions side by side, I couldn't make a clear difference. So as a disruptive factor, I use the word low quality people to see how people would react. And it definitely produced some result.
This is Yoon's first command. If his story here is adding up, this is just one command of the entire Navy. There's hundreds, thousands of them. And so when I look at it, I'm like, Yoon, chill, man. It's one command. That's what we're basing this on. I understand. I'm not saying your points are invalid. I'm just saying experience may vary, and I've said that in videos all the time.
So I completely agree with what Nicky is saying. Like, hey, Yoon, this is your first command. You can't judge the whole Navy in this one place. Completely agree. But this is where the term, the phrase choose your rate, choose your fate comes into play. Within 5 years, right, as a logistics specialist, the luck that I was given was, hey, this is where you're going to stay, one place for 5 years, 59 months in one command. To some rates, that's 2 or 3 commands, depending on the rate and depending on the luck. Does that mean that they had a better experience just because they've gone to 2 or 3 different places? Not necessarily, and I'm sure Nicky's going to agree to some degree with me. It doesn't necessarily matter how many commands you've been to, right? What I was able to see when I was in my command, I was able to see hundreds and thousands of people come to my command and say like, man, what's going on here? This is nothing like the Navy. And I was able to see, and they were able to share with me their experiences, and I was able to come up with a conclusion like, oh, I had an outlier experience. This experience isn't what most people go through. And yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yoon, man. Yoon. Bro, I can only tell you this video right now. I'm not saying it because your feelings aren't valid. They are, but there's more constructive ways to go about it, man.
So yes, I could have said that in a more constructive way, and I've had so many countless videos where I do just that. There are a lot of people that I just do not see eye to eye. There are just people that I don't like to work with. There are, types of people that I don't like to work with. Working with people that I don't necessarily see eye to eye with. But like I said, when I looked at these definitions side by side, dirtbag, low quality people, and all these different terms, different words to describe the same thing, which I'm about to explain, I couldn't find the difference. I couldn't find a clear line of difference. And so I wanted to experiment. And for those of you who are English majors, maybe you'll be able to help me out. Leave it in the comment section down below. What's the clear difference?
Or a franchise owner of McDonald's, I would challenge you to actually go talk to an owner and say, what is your pet peeve about your employees that you have? They're going to say, I've got some really strong ones, but I've got some really lazy ones. And no matter what team you're on, you're going to have some comparison where some are really great and some are really not. And that's just a fact of life. It's frustrating.
When it comes to business and military, in the military, right, you're going to be working with a team of maybe 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, depending on what job you do. That can be compared to as small and mid-cap size businesses and below. And the whole Navy as a whole, the military, I view that as the mega caps, the extreme large businesses of the world, like Google's, the Amazons, the Apples, the Microsofts. Whenever you read a 10K, an annual report of mid-cap size companies and below, which is about 10 billion, but sometimes it's on companies of $50 billion market cap below. In the risk factors section, right, there's within an annual report, there's what the company is about, what are they great at, and also what are their risk factors. Generally, for mid-cap size businesses and below, one of the biggest things, if I can summarize it in one sentence, it basically reads, if we fail to retain and hire highly skilled individuals and talented individuals, we will have problems within our business. But when you read 10Ks about mega cap companies, they don't have that section. Having good people is the baseline expectation of that company. A company like Apple, a Disney, Microsoft, Tesla isn't sitting there and saying, we have some good people, we have some bad people, but, we accept it. It's just a normal way of life. No. The way I view the military is the same way I view a company. For a company to be extremely great, for Tesla to be extremely great, what they need is great individuals. It's not necessarily the product. The product is the product of the people that are running the company. That's how I view the military to be. We cannot accept below average performance. We cannot accept people who purposely don't do what they're supposed to do, who purposely lie, cheat, steal, and try to get out of work, who are not adding value to the organization. That's my personal view, right? I'm sure Nicky agrees to some degree with what I'm saying here. But that's how I view the military should operate and run. In my opinion, military personnel at minimum should be operating as to what they're asked to do. If you're performing below that purposely on a day-to-day basis, that's where I have a problem. And that's what I'm trying to describe. The reason why I believe mid-cap size businesses and below have that risk factor and why it's equivalent to a small division of 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 25, 30 people is whenever management thinking about hiring individuals, they're not hiring with the acceptance and the expectation that, he might be good and he might be bad. But I accept it because that's the normal way of life. No. Whenever they hire with the intention of, hey, who can we bring that's going to complement our weakness? Who can we bring that's going to propel our business to the next level? That's how, in my opinion, coming from a business standpoint, coming from an investor standpoint, shout out to Disney, highly recommend you go to Disney parks. I hold a lot of shares. I need them to do great. That's how they operate. They need to do well. They need to excel and get to that next level. And you can't get to the next level when you accept mediocre performances on a day-to-day basis. And I want to reiterate and make clear so there's no misunderstanding. When Nicky is saying like, hey, I have a problem with how Yoon views people, it's not that I look down on people, right? I have a genuine problem with people who purposely on a day-to-day basis operate below the minimum, below what is asked of them. Yes, I am a leader. If I have a problem with you professionally, I will let you know. Outside the uniform, I'm sure everybody's great, but inside the uniform, if I have a problem with you, like, hey, you're lazy, like, hey, you're a liar, I'm going to let you know, and I'm going to try and resolve this situation. I'm not going to go behind closed door and talk to my friends like, oh my gosh, like that guy, what's up with him? No, I'm going to face it head on, right? An extreme example of this was my suppo and the executive officer, the second in command, denied my overseas leave. I requested captain's mask, went to the captain. I still today, even though he denied it, firmly believe he was wrong. I will clearly say, I personally believe he was wrong. That's an extreme example, and people within the chief's mess, the wardroom, they were like, oh my gosh, like that guy's crazy. Like we've never seen somebody request captain's mask before. A more of an intermediate example would be an E5 and E6, and I said this in my previous video before, was trying to turn in a part to me. I'm a supplier, right? They were trying to turn it apart. They had the wrong paperwork. And I said, hey, this paperwork is wrong. This is exactly how you can fix it. Give it back to them. And when I wasn't looking, they tried to turn it into my junior sailor. My junior sailor was like, hey, the paperwork is wrong. And I go over there and I was like, hey guys, what the heck? Right? And I emailed them. Within the military, when you're in the ship, email is a very direct form of communication. And I was like, within that email, if I can summarize it, I don't really remember it full detail. I was like, hey, clearly what you guys did was wrong. Moving forward, let's not make this happen again. And that E6 sat in my junior sailor or sailor of the quarter board. It's an awards board. And I don't know what happened behind closed door when they were talking amongst themselves, but I'm sure what I said when I was trying to correct an E5 and E6 who clearly was doing something wrong, I'm sure they had some type of feeling and that affected it. Another example, a guy that I could not agree and get along too well with on the ship is actually coming to Maryland at the base that I'm working at, and I'm gonna have to see him, and that's fine, right? The hand is always there. People that know that I don't like their work performance, right, still come to me and say, hey Yoon, I know you'll achieve some level of success in the stock market, can you teach me? And I will sit there for hours without discriminating by any means of, hey, I don't like your work performance. But that doesn't mean I don't like them as a person. To me, I mean, that's just me. That's just my leadership style. I'm more aggressive. I'm more direct. What makes the military so great, and you hear this term, it's a melting pot, is that there's so many people that come into the military, offer their personal skill, their points of view, and tries to move the needle forward, tries to move the Navy forward. And you know what? My leadership skill, my leadership style is great to some people, but it's not so great to some people. Nicky's leadership style is great to some people, but not to some people. It's not, there isn't a silver bullet. There isn't this one thing that works with everybody. No matter how good you think you are, you go to any of the YouTube videos, positive YouTube videos, like for example, a Martin Luther King video with great intentions, right? There's going to be dislike buttons pressed in that video, right? But it's offset by more thumbs ups, right? But what I'm trying to say is there isn't one method. What makes it so great is that there's so many different methods integrated into one.
Give yourself some credit, man. I want to see that. Like more, you need to give yourself more credit. You've done a lot. You've worked hard, man. Give yourself a pat on the back. Use $1,000. Take a freaking vacation if that's really what you need. That's what it sounds like.
And lastly, he's saying, hey, give yourself some credit. I don't think you've enjoyed the process. You are successful. I understand what he's trying to say. I am trying to achieve becoming a decamillionaire, right? $10 million. Once you realize that $1 million is middle class, it will forever change how you behave. It will forever change how you view money. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but that's my goal. All right, I hope this clears up any misunderstandings due to misinterpretations, as well as me not giving enough context, giving enough example. See ya.